Hey everyone, Michelle Lim here. Happy Saturday. No, Sunday. I had one job. Happy Sunday or Monday, wherever you are. I wanted to give a shout out to my new subscribers to start off with. So big shout out to Joey Boy, Brad, Will, Jenny, and Ivan. Thank you so much for joining me. If you don't know, I'm a stand-up comedian. I live in San Francisco now, but I was originally from Australia, and I really like making these videos to answer any questions and leave some comedy tips along the way about how to get started, how to practice and perform, and keep getting better with comedy. So thank you for joining me. I really appreciate when people write in questions to me because I'm very lazy, and I it's not like I'm lazy, but sometimes I'm like I don't know what to talk about. So whenever you have questions, please let me know. It really helps me think about the content that I want to speak about, which is a good segue into what I'm going to talk about today. Today I've got some notes. And some questions from one of my subscribers, Dr. Brash. Thank you so much for writing in, Doctor. Ooh, it's Michelle's advice line. How can I help you? So today we have some questions, and he wants to know about my origin story. Okay, so this is X-Men. This is the Michelle Lim origin story. Um, Dr. Brash wants to know what my background is, like what I studied, why I decided to become a comedian, and a couple of other things. So let's start at the beginning. So my background, I didn't study performing arts or theater or anything like that when I was in university, but I did do it in high school, and I really liked it. I really liked performing. I was actually very shy up until about fourth grade. Back in Sydney, I went to a public school and I don't know, I just felt like everyone else was like louder and funnier than I was, and maybe my personality didn't really develop until I was a little bit older. But I remember in fourth grade kind of trying wanting to be more out there, but because I'd already been kind of pigeonholed as a quiet girl, it was kind of hard for me. And I remember thinking that my oldest brother was really funny. I have two brothers. Only one of them's funny, no. So I remember thinking my oldest brother was really funny and really cool. He always had like a witty comment to say. This is like back when I was in primary school. And then what happened was I changed schools, which was great. So then I was like, in year five, grade five, and I went to a different school, and it was amazing for me to be able to kind of come out of my shell and almost have a new start. So ever since year five, I was always the class clown. So from year five up until the end of year 12, and I really like doing drama. I really like performing on the stage and making people laugh and doing kind of like funny sketches and things like that. And I loved Seinfeld growing up as well. Um, so yeah, I never studied theater or comedy professionally, but I did it a lot growing up. And when I studied, I did like a business degree, which has like really nothing to do with comedy. But I did marketing as one of my majors, and then I really like being creative, so I knew that I wanted to do something in that, creative space with marketing and thinking of marketing slogans and things like that. Um, so I decided to do comedy. I touched on it before. I really like performing. I really loved watching the Melbourne Comedy Festival every year, and I really like Seinfeld. And I just felt like it was just such a cool thing to do, and I really wanted to try it. So I entered the Raw Comedy Competition, which is like Australia's biggest comedy competition. And at the time, I didn't know that it was a really big competition. I thought it was just like a small local competition, but I ended up doing pretty well in it. My first gig ever is actually on YouTube, so you can have a look at that and let me know what you think. And how did my family react to me doing comedy? They were fine with it. Like they were very supportive. It was really nice. When I started doing comedy and I did a lot of gigs in the Comedy Store in Moore Park, which is a little bit away from my house, and my brother would always drive me there. And then we would always get McDonald's on the way back when I had a good gig. It was so good. It was like a champion caramel sundae. Just really, it was just such a great experience to like celebrate those small victories with my family and my friends. That was really cool. Okay, so last two questions, and then I will make another video. So the last two questions is what were my first open mic performances like, and what was my first paid performance like. So I touched a little bit on my first ever gig, which was like one of my first open mic performances. Um, that was really scary, and I felt like I was going to throw up beforehand, but it was fine, and I got such a rush after doing it. And then after that, I just did like just random open mic gigs here and there, and they were fine. I always used to get very nervous before my gigs. I still get a little bit nervous, but not as much anymore. But I always used to like look at everybody in the demographic and think like, oh, there are more older people, or there are more younger people here, or like if there are, other like young Asian people. I'm like, oh, I really hope that they think that I'm cool because I want to like represent them in like a good light sort of thing. Um, but it wasn't anything. I mean, I only had one really bad gig, which was in King's Cross, and I just didn't do well. I think I talk about it in one of my previous videos about like how to structure your gig, and you should never do all of the same sort of like theme or all new jokes in one set, which is what I did in that gig, and it was really bad. And I didn't really get heckled, but someone was just laughing really sarcastically, and I pretty much just got off the stage. But apart from that, it wasn't that bad. So my open mic gigs in the beginning were fine. I just got very nervous, but there weren't any like okay, apart from that, that was like my one defining bad gig. But other than that, they were just, normal kind of um, gigs, which I don't really have any particular comments on or anything. And then my first paid performance, I don't remember when that was, but I do remember that I did my first Fringe Festival, which is like a show where you put it on yourself and you find a venue yourself, you sell tickets yourself, and that was probably my first paid gig, even though it was like a solo show pretty much. And I probably got maybe I think I made like $300 or something like that, which is pretty good, I think, actually, over 3 nights. So it was like $100 a night, which is good after I paid for the cost of like renting the room and doing the advertising, which I'm going to get into soon. I'm going to apply for Sketchfest SF. So I want to do a couple of videos on how to write and produce your own show. Anyway, that's all from me. I'm going to do another video right after this. And hopefully remember to post it on time. All right, thank you so much. Keep those questions coming. Bye.